Good evening. Welcome to Smart Trucking Live. It's been a little while. Good to get to talk to you guys again. Michael Mueller, hello. How are you doing, man? Joshua, hello there. Howdy from Andrew. All sorts of guys joining up here. What's up, everybody, from Sean Buser? Hello from California, Alex. Devin Stroud. What would be a good old rig to start out in? Hello to everybody. Greetings from the truck stop, Albert. I see Gordon Ramsay's on here. Are you the famous chef or a truck driver? Because if you're the famous chef, I got some questions for you. Good to see you here. Greetings from Saskatchewan, Dominic. Bill, Bill, hi. Trucker Hershey, good to see you here. Trucker Hershey, while you're with me here, explain to me what 1099 is. That's we don't have that here in Canada, so I need to know what the 1099 is. If you get a chance.
Or Super Duty. Say hello to Super Duty.
Hello, Super Duty. How are you? Michael Mueller says his Pete's purring like a kitten. Good to hear. So are they going to raise insurance premiums, Stephen? No, almost for sure. Almost for sure. The cost of everything always goes up.
Hello from Ireland.
Hello from Ireland. No kidding. Oh, I love it when they join us from overseas. Hello from Illinois. Kansas City. My grandpa was known as the Silver Bullet on the CB, Ford man. Man, that is familiar to me. I remember talking to a guy named Silver Bullet. Huh. Hello from Los Angeles. Greetings from home, Trucker Hershey. Greetings, Trucker Hershey.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Brooklyn, New York. We haul as well down here. So, we're going to start off with a Q&E, just to see what's on your minds. It's nice to see that freight is picking up, volume freight is picking up, and truck driver hiring is increasing again. It looks like the worst of the COVID thing is over in most states, although you still got California, Texas, and Florida in big trouble. But Cassius Puckett, greetings from Kingman, Arizona. Hi, Cassius. How are you, man? So it's good to see that things are starting to get back to normal. You know things are getting back to normal because, of course, the price of diesel fuel is increasing. They're talking about increasing the insurance costs. So when the prices are starting to go up, you know the slump is over anyway. So what's going on out there? What's new and exciting?
Tyree, does the Lettuce King build trucks for sale?
Tyree, does the Lettuce King build trucks for sale? You know, he always would build them for himself and end up getting bored and selling the one he had and building another one. Now, he tells me he sold I don't know, half a dozen anyway. He tells me that this one that he's just built now is going to be his final one, his last one. But I've heard that before from him, so we'll have to wait and see. But he sure does build a good-looking truck, doesn't he? Man, very talented guy. Any good compact CB antenna that you could recommend? Man, it's been a long time since I thought about CB antennas. I always ran fire sticks. I always had good luck with fire sticks, but I'm sure the technology's changed and improved since then. I ran those oil cooled antennas, but I never ran enough heat to make good use of them, to heat them up anyway. So you couldn't roast hot dogs on my antennas. My radio wasn't that big, but the fire sticks always worked well for me, and they were durable.
YQ, thank you very much for the $2 donation. Really appreciate the support.
Where was I here? I just saw something from Compton. Now I've lost it.
Said hello from
Oh well, hello, boy, Compton. I haven't delivered there in a long time. Heard about the trucker that got attacked by BLM. Yeah, there's all sorts of that going on, Michael. Jeez, it's and what an ugly, needless deal. You know, like what does that prove? Attacking truck drivers just because they get stuck in the middle of a protest. I mean, you know, I would think that BLM wants sympathy and support, and they sure don't get it by attacking truck drivers.
What do you do if an employee of a company you're trying to pick up for tries to get into your truck to fight you?
What do you do if an employee of a company you're trying to pick up for climbs into your truck and tries to fight you? Defend yourself. Toss his ass out of the cab and then call the carrier or the company. Call them both.
Police.
And call the police, yes. Yeah, don't put up with that. That's not to be forgiven. My grandpa's CB handle used to be Smokestack. He's retired years ago. I believe I recall him, Smokestack, and there was a name for that reason. The truck smoked like a locomotive. How does the Lettuce King build the trucks? He basically buys all the pieces that he needs, starts with the frame rails and just goes from there. Stretches the frame and puts it where he wants it, drills the holes where he needs to have them for the axles and the cab and so forth. With this last one, it's got an extended hood, like a super extended hood. So what he does is slide the cab backwards on the frame basically to make an extension of the hood. But he's got it into a real art. He puts he always puts Pete Air Ride or low air leaf air ride on them because he likes to sit low and he likes the smooth soft ride, and he just kind of goes at it from the ground up.
Albert has a comment. The DOT is back in business. I got pulled over last week, got a violation for not enough straps, and they're looking for money.
Yep, and we were just talking about that a few weeks ago. I believe that too. Thank you for the heads up on that, Albert.
Say that to everybody.
Pardon me?
Repeat it. That the DOT is
Albert says the DOT is back in business, and he got pulled over last week and got a violation for not enough straps. Now they are looking for money, and we did a video on that a few weeks ago. We called that one because they got to make up for lost time and lost revenue. States rely on it, sadly enough. It's pretty easy money to them, easy money in their pocket. Zach, do you think we will ever get away from the emission systems in the future? Zach, it's honestly not looking that way. It's not looking that way. The best we can hope for is they actually get to perfect these systems, because right now they're seriously flawed, and hopefully the engineers will be able to design a proper working, reliable system, but they have yet to accomplish that.
Jonathan Mestro, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Davey says, thank you for recommending GP Transco. He got hired over a month ago, and they're a wonderful company to work for. He just wanted to let us know that he found GP through our channel.
right on.
Well, thank you for saying so. We love dealing with GP Transco, frankly. They're really good people to deal with, and I can't recommend them enough. No, they're excellent. You're on with a good carrier there. Just got my CDL last month and learned a lot from your channel. Seatown Trucker. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Is the 2021 the last year of the Pete 389 from Josh? No, Josh, I don't believe it is. There had been some talk like that, but I think Peterbilt has realized what a successful model that the 389 has been, and no, I don't believe now that they will discontinue it next year. I believe you'll see it for years yet to come. Devin, my grandpa ran an old International Transtar 4070 B Classic with a Cummins and a 10-speed. Oh, that's a nice old girl. International made great trucks back in the day. It's when the emissions thing came along, it probably hit International hardest because they tried to keep their own engines, and they really struggled with this emissions business. It hurt them badly, but they always made a good truck.
Somebody made a comment. Do you think local driving is better than OTR, and why?
Do I think local driving is better than OTR? These days, yes, it is, because these days they don't pay over the road drivers what they should. But the local drivers are paid more in line with what they should be making. It's brutal now to look at over the road guys and what a lot of them are paying, because they sit for free, they run thousands of miles every week and don't get enough per mile. It's I'd go local these days just because the pay is more equitable. Sad to say, I preferred the over the road, but there's no money in it right now. You think I can find some work for a cab over I just bought from Casey? Where are you located, Casey? The trucks can always find work for the right deal. There are a couple guys up here running old cab overs, and they're hauling gravel with them. And man, they look really cool going down the road. They're functional, they're reliable. It's nice to see them. I'm sure you can find work for your cab over. Just got my Class 1 here in southern British Columbia after taking a 4-week course at a driving school. Any advice for a green driver looking for his first driving job? I would tell him that you're a slow, steady, reliable guy, because if you're driving in BC, the last thing you want to do is to get in a hurry. So you've just got to pace yourself and leave the top of the mountains more slowly than you think is necessary, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. There are some good trucking outfits in BC. Just present yourself as an easygoing, slow, cautious kind of fellow. That's what they're looking for out there. That's what everybody's looking for, frankly. But it's particularly important in the mountains.
Mr. Lampshade said, I run N-Dump Regional home every weekend. I make between $1,500 and $2,200 a week, and I'm happy doing OTR.
I guess we had a fellow there saying he's doing N-Dump local home every weekend. He's making great money, so that's good to hear. There's good money out there still. You just got to find the right niche. Mm-hmm. Trucking is all about working for niches that pay. California passed bylaw that all Class 8 must be electric power by 2040. I caught something about. I did see that in print on one of the news websites. So easier said than done. We'll see how that goes. But and I like the electric trucks. I really do. I do think they are the future.
Jake Cobb comments, I'm in with a crap company, just trying to get my 6 months in so I can get with a better company. I've been with them 4 months and I'm already missing money from my pay.
Yeah, Jake Cobb in with a crap company and already getting beat. Well, put in your time as best you can, and don't be afraid to go to the office and point out that you can see that you're missing money. Don't be afraid to point that out to them. But try to ride it out and get your 6 months in, and then you're off.
Gordon Ramsay said, what was the Lettuce King's take on autonomous trucks?
What was the Lettuce King's take on autonomous trucks? Well, there were a lot of 4-letter words involved. That's pretty much all I can say. You can pretty much guess. Yeah, you can see the smoke coming out of his ears. I can't see him buying one anytime soon. That's my take on that. But I was checking out. I've been following Nikola, I believe is the name, electric trucks. Man, they're cool looking. I'd like to drive one of those. I don't know how far they'll go before you got to plug them in and how long it takes to charge them. But I think those things truly are the wave of the future. And if they keep the trucks cool looking like the Nikola, guys will still want to drive them.
Seatown Trucker says, what do you like best, dry van, flatbed, or tankers?
I like tankers the best out of those options.
Tankers usually pay the best out of those options.
Tankers always pay very well, and it's no touch freight, and they're smaller trailers generally. If you're hauling like food grade or hazmat or something like that, you end up with a 42-foot trailer usually, and I like that.
And when you worked tanker work, you got paid for every
yes.
movement.
Yeah, when I did tanker work, I got paid for everything I did. There was no free time sit here, no free delivery, no none of that. I got paid for everything, every move, and that's the way it should be for everybody. Michael Mueller only likes Cummins or Detroit in the 389. Not much faith in the PACCAR, eh, Mike?
Goop Troop, have you ever had to deal with burnout? I've been having a tough time on the road, so I'm planning on heading home and trying out dispatching from home.
I think everybody suffers from burnout once in a while, and that's a good plan, just to shift gears and try something different and recoup. You know, a couple times I've taken this summer off or parts of the year off just to get my wind back. Happens to everybody. Good strategy to take a break. Always need to take a break. Mike says he's never had problems with the X-15 Cummins. Good to know. Return of the Native. Elon Musk won't like that, meaning he won't like that I think the Nicolas are cool. That's all right. I'm sure he won't cry himself to sleep over what I think.
What do you think of flatbed work?
Flatbed work is hard work. Sometimes it's very lucrative. Sometimes it pays really well. But there's a lot of risk involved, and the DOT are always on you about how many straps or chains, and are the straps properly tagged and marked. And there's a lot of the DOT, in my opinion, gives flatbedders the most grief out of any trucking group. So you've got to be prepared to take that in stride. So there can be really good money in it, but there can be a lot of grief too. So
Someone has asked what the average is in truck driver pay. So I'll answer that one. In trucking, the ultimate answer is, well, it depends.
That's true. That's true. And it's so all over the board, depending on what area you're in and what type of work you're doing. Experience level. It's just too vast and various a subject. You can't even pin down a number anymore.
Star-Lord, thank you very much for the $2, my friend. Davey asks, are tanker jobs easy to get as a new driver in Saskatchewan?
I believe that any driving job is fairly easy to get these days because everyone's crying for good drivers. Now, Jade Transport out of Winnipeg operates in Saskatchewan. They've got beautiful equipment. I've talked to the guy that owns the place. He's a decent guy. I think that's a pretty good place to try. I'd give Jade a call over in Manitoba. You might be pleasantly surprised. They've got a beautiful fleet.
Question, what do you think of Robert Transport?
What do I think of Robert Transport up here? They've been around a long time. They obviously have a lot of money behind them, which is a good thing. They've got financial security, which means as a driver or as an owner-operator, you're going to get paid. They never did the type of work that I was interested in, and they're based out of Quebec. But I've seen Robert trucks recently with what looks like a solar panel on the hood of their trucks. So I'm curious as to what that's for. Obviously, it charges the batteries or runs a generator of some sort or something. But I asked the one guy I was parked beside him. I asked him what that was for, and he didn't know. So I still don't really know what the mat is for, but they're a very innovative company. We used to call them, it's Robert Transport, that's the French pronunciation. We used to call them Bob Transport. They didn't like that.
Hot shot is an insult to a real Class A driver.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Hot shot is an insult to a real truck driver. Hey, Dave, what is your opinion on the K model Cummins? I wish I owned one. I wish I owned one in an old W900A. Perfect setup. They're great motors. I run a covered wagon, so your load is always covered. Those covered wagons are cool and cool looking. There's a kit there, I gather take a little while to break them down and put them back together now, and everyone's going to these rolling tarp systems, which are expensive. But I always like the look of the covered wagons. I thought they looked cool.
Seatown Trucker, thank you very much for the $20 donation. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Seatown Trucker. How's the peat doing? Oh, I had it out the other day. There's always bugs in the spring because it sits all winter, you know. Not bugs, things you need to attend to mechanically, not real bugs. But so we've had a few early spring issues that we have resolved now. So and it's doing very well. I took it up to a little town called Point of Barrel. I bobtailed it up to Point of Barrel here the other day, maybe a 30 or 40 mile trip, and turned around and came back. It's nice to drive it. I enjoy driving it.
Joshua Darovitz, thank you very much for the $10 dono. Dave, he said for you, your channel got him started on trucking 2 years ago. He's been accident free, and it's been the best decision of his life thus far. He thanks you very much. He got hired on at Landstar, and he wants to know what you suggest for his first truck. He's got about 20K saved up thus far.
Wow. Oh, first, Joshua, thank you. What would I congratulations on the Landstar deal. Your first truck, I would recommend finding a truck at a dealership close to where you live that you like, with the dealership that you trust, because when your downtime comes and you need to get your work done on the truck while you're at home, you want a shop that can get you in and get you out when you need to get in and out, and a shop that you trust. And basically they're all making pretty good trucks right now. You really can't go wrong these days. I would buy new. But yeah, pick something close to home and with a warranty, a good warranty and a good shop. Freightliners are doing better than they were. I like PACCAR products. I like the Kenworths and the Peets. You get better resale from them. Freightliner's making a better truck than they used to. They're increasing in liability. I'm not a Volvo fan. Everybody knows that. But no secret. But I like Peets or Kenworths. Mack is killing itself. Number one, killed the Superliner. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of Macks. You still see them around here in the construction industry, but you hardly see any on the highway. What do I think of the W990? I like the 900 better than the 990. The 990 looks like a big reworked International to me. I like the 900 better.
I am an insurance agent in BC, and I recommend your channel to all drivers.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir, for recommending our channel. I love driving in BC. I worked out there for about 5 years, full-time, and then when I started running complete cross-country, of course, I wasn't there nearly as often, but always enjoyed the drive in BC. That was in the days before the Coquihalla Highway. I've only been across that once, and I wasn't impressed. But I really like the old Trans Canada. It's a beautiful drive. You had to be careful in the winter, couldn't lose your head, but beautiful country out there. Do I think cats will come back to semis? I don't see it until someone comes up with an emission system that works. That was CAT's biggest issue. That was why they bowed out of truck engines. It's because they couldn't develop a system. Nobody could develop a system that could handle the emissions requirements. You know, the government can mandate that the motor's got to run on chicken soup if they want, and they can make it law if they want, but that doesn't mean it's going to work properly. So that's what CAT's waiting for, a proper solution to the emissions problem.
Star-Lord, once again, thank you for the $2 dono. Appreciate that. Davey wants to know what you think of Landstar.
Thank you, Star-Lord. Landstar's been around a long time. They're a very reliable company. It's kind of almost like being an independent without some of the work. So, because you've got to find your own loads, and they set you up with load brokers that they call agents across the country. But it's kind of nice to be able to pick and choose where you go and what you haul, and Landstar allows you to do that. And I think that's kind of a cut above being a regular owner-operator in some cases. I think Landstar will be around a long time.
Jonathan Mestro, thank you once again for another donation of $5. Really appreciate that. He says, shout out to your behind the scenes crew. I'll take that as a personal compliment myself. You guys are awesome and inspired me to start trucking. Keep up the great content. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Nice of you to say. Appreciate it.
Why don't you get out one of your questions? Where's your
Oh, I've got some quiz questions here.
trivia?
Trivia questions, if you guys want to work on them and see how much you've been paying attention. My first quiz question is, who makes the 6 and 4 transmission, and how many gears total does that combination
Question at a time.
get you? Who made the 6 and 4 transmission setup? What company made them? And how many gears could you get out of that setup? So,
Oh yeah.
We're going to type it in chat so they can see.
I've lost my screen here.
Who made the 6 and 4 transmission, right?
Yeah,
One guy says Spicer. Spicer, 24 gears.
that is all correct. That is correct.
5 guys got it. They all got it.
Spicer made the 6 and 4, and it gave you a 24 gear setup. If your math is good, 6 times 4.
Give him another one. Trivia.
Another trivia question: how long is the wheelbase on the Lettuce King's latest truck?
Keep going.
So how long is the wheelbase of the latest build of the Lettuce King? We had it in a video, a few weeks back. Just want to see if anybody remembers what that wheelbase was. It's ridiculously long, so I'm just seeing if any of you remember how long it is.
Jonathan said 380.
No, it wasn't 380.
336?
I'm struggling now to remember myself.
I know it was like 340, 330 or 340.
Huh.
Maybe you shouldn't be asking.
Yeah.
If you don't know the answer.
We'll have to look it up. I believe it was 330. Here's a trivia question that irks me. What big mega carrier just was granted an exemption from the ELD regulations? Which mega carrier just got an exemption? So they're exempt. They don't have to run full ELDs right now. Who was that got that? Unbelievable. FMCSA just giving away the farm.
Somebody said yellow,
No, it's not yellow. Good guess, though.
orange.
No,
That's my guess.
no, it's not orange either.
Werner.
Yes, it was Werner.
Container Guru.
Container Guru, way to go. Yeah, absolutely correct. And they gave Werner this exemption because Werner's switching ELD companies and says they need that time to transition over because they're such a huge fleet. And I don't know why the FMCSA should just throw out the book when it comes to that, but that was Werner's story, and they were granted the exemption. Hard to believe, but true.
Next trivia question.
Next trivia question.
By the way, Melvin Schmeckelback says your backup man has a great voice that could land him a job in radio. So tonight might be the last live stream you see me in. So I might be looking for a new job after this. Sorry about that, Dave.
We've actually heard that before about his voice, so he's going to have to pay us big bucks to let him out of his contract to go in radio. But
I'm more than just the good looks around here.
Jeez, it's getting deep now. So, another trivia question. They just made some recent changes, the latest changes to the hours of service rules. Name 2 of the 4 latest changes. That's the next trivia question.
Ooh, that's hard.
In my own personal opinion, I don't think the changes weren't what I was looking for at all. I don't see them as very effective changes. There's only one in there that I actually think was worth any good at all, and I can't tell you what that is yet. But yeah, I thought I was disappointed. I was hoping for more. I was hoping for something that allowed you to run the truck after you ran out of hours to get to a safe haven. That's what I wanted.
Joshua Darovitz had said 30-minute break can be on duty.
Yes, that's one.
30-minute break and 8-2 split.
Yeah, they allow for the 30-minute break. You can put it on duty or off duty now. And the 8-2 split, you can do an 8-2 split, or you can do a 7-3 split now. I don't, maybe in some particular instances that helps out certain guys. I can't see that it makes much of a difference myself, but those are two of the breaks. The break that I like is they give you 2 hours more to run in adverse weather conditions, and I think that's a reasonable thing, a good break to give guys, because that happens all the time, and you can't help the weather you get into, and because the bad weather slows the traffic down, it just messes up your whole timetable. That was the only change I found was worth anything at all.
Star-Lord says, I am worried as an up-and-coming new driver that I won't be able to find a job. My end goal is Landstar or regional tanker work, but I keep hearing from other truckers not to go OTR. Any truth to this?
Well, there was always going to be jobs in trucking. There's always going to be a need for truck drivers in trucking. Right now, over the road really doesn't pay that well, and the regional stuff pays better. But one thing you can rest assured of is that if you have a CDL, if you have a trucking license, you'll never be unemployed unless you want to be, because there are always going to be jobs for truck drivers. And I knew that going in, and it's still true today.
But his question was to do OTR, but so it's an end to a means, OTR.
Yeah, OTR will always be there, and frankly, I enjoyed OTR. That was my favorite type of trucking, and so yeah, if that's where you want to start, and if you're young, I think you should, because it's like a paid vacation with great scenery. OTR is there for you. Might as well give you my final trivia question. Why did they quit manufacturing cab overs for the North American trucking market? Why did they stop making them here? You're not allowed to answer.
Anybody? Repeat it.
Why? The question was, why did the manufacturers quit making cab over trucks for the North American market? Why did those things just fade away here? Kind of a long, involved answer. It might take a second or two to type out.
Jonathan Mestrel, thank you once again for the $2 dono. He says GP Transco is one of the few with very decent pay, and we know that to be true.
Yep, good outfit, GP Transco. If I lived in the Joliet, Chicago area, I would work for those people.
Honorable people.
Honorable people, exactly, and nice equipment. And that was always a big thing for me, to have nice, well-maintained equipment, sharp-looking equipment. Well, no one's getting the cab over question?
Nope, they gave up.
Okay, well, the reason they quit manufacturing cab overs in the North American market was...
Somebody might have length restrictions lifted, and people like to have enough sleeper room wise.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
that's basically it. Everybody, when they changed the length laws and allowed longer trucks, everybody started buying the conventional trucks. Nobody was buying the cab overs anymore, and to the point where it just wasn't worth their while to make them anymore. Sad to see, but that was why. The conventionals were far more popular. Now here in North America, it's because we've got more room to swing the things around, but they're still quite popular in Australia, for instance, and of course Europe is pretty much all cab overs because of the because of the room restrictions they have for operating trucks.
Different type of truck.
Different type of trucking. The streets are narrower over there. So,
Melvin says so he gets the prize.
yes, Melvin. Yes, Melvin, you get the prize for that one. Thank you. Glad you're paying attention.
Well, we're going to see how the trivia goes over, and we're going to mix trivia.
Yeah.
We're going to mix trivia with Q&A nights, and we're going to work on doing some giveaways.
Okay, yeah. Kathy says we're going to mix trivia with Q&As on our live streams and give away prizes and stuff and see how that goes. That'd be kind of fun anyway.
If you won a prize, it would be fun.
Well, we should send Melvin something. Send us your address, Melvin. You win that one. We'll send you something.
I saw a Ford Cabover operating on Highway 40 in Montreal.
Really? Oh, this is like the CL 9000 cab over? They were nice trucks. They had they were one of the first trucks with an air ride cab. They were neat. They leaned in the corners, but they rode really nicely. They would feel like they were tipping over on you though when you tried to climb in. You had to grab the handrail and you could feel the whole cab coming at you as it leaned. It was a wee bit scary until you got used to it, but nice trucks. It's too bad Ford quit making those. I thought they were nice. Good trucks.
Why are a lot of mega carriers doing team only instead of solo?
Well, mega carriers like teams because they get more bang for the buck. They figure they can keep the truck running longer, pick up more loads, and just make more money with them. That's why they like them.
And they don't have to worry about hours of service.
They don't have to worry about hours of service. They can sell their customers on team service. Sometimes if you've got a tough customer, but you say, hey, we've got 24-hour team service, that's enough to sell them on your trucking company. So teams are very popular with the big mega carriers. I tried running team and didn't like it. I tried it for a couple of years, Kathy? But oh man, I didn't care for it at all. It's hard to sleep when the trucks are moving. Wasn't my cup of tea. Some guys like it, just wasn't for me though.
What do you think about an 81 W9 for a first truck? It's pretty old truck.
Wow, it's
Depends what
a
doing.
classic. It's a classic. That's
They didn't hear me.
a fellow asked, what do I think of the 81 Kenworth W9? And I'm thinking, beautiful truck. I wish I had one. You can still put those to work. It's a lot of work redoing a truck that's that age. You'll probably have to replace the frame rails and start from the ground up. But beautiful trucks. I'd love to have one, and it'll never lose its value. Beautiful truck.
Jonathan Mestro, how much do I have to donate for a Lettuce King reveal?
Yeah,
We'll have to talk to the Lettuce King.
we better check with the Lettuce King.
Soon.
Soon?
Well, you know that.
Yeah,
we're
we're
going down to film.
we're due to go down there. The truck is finished, so we're due to go down there and have a look at it. I'm pretty excited. Kathy wants to take a ride in it even, so we'll try to get that on
I'm
film.
gonna drive it.
You're gonna drive it?
If you'll let me.
Oh, he'll probably let you.
Yeah, okay, well then I will. I'm gonna ship one stick and he can ship the other.
Okay, you work that out with him.
I will.
You work that out with him. I'll sit in the bunk and film the whole thing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing his newest truck. He builds some amazing trucks. They're all cool.
What was the most memorable holy crap moment for you driving a truck?
The most memorable holy crap moment. I think I've probably told this story, but I was in the mountains in BC with an empty set of A-trains, and I came around a corner. I was going east. I'd gotten down off the Rogers Pass. The road was dry and clear. It was a sunny day, and I was headed into Golden, and I went around a corner and started down what they call Donald Hill, and the snow had melted, run across the road, and then frozen in the shade of the cliff there. And I didn't know when I came around the corner that I was starting down the mountain on glare ice. And it was an awful ride down. I fought to control that truck all the way down the hill, and I just got lucky more than anything else, and didn't end up going into the Kicking Horse River, but scared the living hell out of me. I don't ever want to take that ride again. And when I finally got into Golden, it was so greasy, I dynamited the truck on the high side of the service road, and the whole truck slid with the brakes on to the low side of the service road. And I literally crawled on my hands and knees into the truck stop. Scary ride. I'll never forget it.
Melvin has asked, explain why the bridge laws prompted CO tractors for the viewers.
Can you repeat that? Explain why bridge laws...
Prompted CO tractors.
Cab over tractors.
Yes.
I'm not sure I know the answer to that. Bridge law, in effect, is that they don't allow extra long gaps between the axles. So, because they want the weight supported, basically. So cab over certainly helped that problem or issue back in the day. But you see, that's bridge laws seem to have gone the way of the dodo bird, because virtually no state that I've seen lately enforces them, with the exception of maybe North Dakota, for instance. But hardly anybody pays attention to that anymore. But the idea was, though, to have the weight evenly and properly supported across the length of the truck.
Trucking Man 2015 says, what do you think of the show Ice Road Truckers?
I was embarrassed when I saw that show. The first time I ever saw it, and I can remember where I was. I was in the Petro in Joplin, Missouri, and I walked by the TV room, and whatever was on the screen caught my eye. So I kind of backed up and watched for a few minutes, and I thought it was the hokiest thing I'd ever seen, frankly. And I was embarrassed that a lot of these guys from down south that had never run up north were believing the kind of crap that show was dishing out. It was I thought it was a load of hooky, and I couldn't believe that stuff ran for as long as it did. There were a few honest moments in it, but not very many.
Bobson says, oh no, sorry, I got the wrong one here. Can you elaborate on your opinion of the Coquihalla?
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 Oh, the old highway, like down through Boston Bar and all that, were lots of curves, and it ran along the Fraser Canyon and by the river and stuff. And it was an interesting drive. The Coquihalla is just kind of like a big highway that goes straight up and straight down. And I found it kind of boring compared to the old highway. But I also found that on the Coquihalla, and I was only across there once, on the old highway, you couldn't get too cocky because there are so many curves and steep corners and stuff. So you really had to pay attention and take it easy. And just in my one time across the Coquihalla, I found that guys, because it looked like a highway, were overconfident on it. And they were going down the one side too fast and just not paying attention to the road, I felt, the way they should have been. And the road kind of lended itself to that because it was kind of big and straight and smooth as compared to the old highway. So I like the old highway better, but I'm sure that the Coke is more economical. It cuts some distance off, so it saves money that way, I'm sure. But I just didn't care for the nature of the hill. And it's just one big hill, one up and one down.
Where am I here? Nick from Ohio, love your videos. I just graduated with a CDLA, and I'm looking for local work in Ohio. Any advice?
Congratulations, Nick. I'd love to know whereabouts in Ohio you are, but there's plenty of trucking going on in Ohio and all sorts of good carriers to hire on with.
And Anthony has mentioned LTL is exploding right now, so might look into LTL.
Yes, LTL is exploding, and there are a lot of major LTL carriers in Ohio. So you'll find work pretty easily. It's a good place to be looking. Ohio's got lots of major centers too: Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland. All sorts of good places to be looking. It's a hub. It's a freight hub.
Would you consider $25 an hour decent for OTR trucking, hauling bags of wood shavings, dry box as well as some flatbed?
Yeah, $25 an hour is all right. It would depend on where I was doing that. If I was running for $25 an hour in New York City, I'd be feeling cheated. But in most places, that'd be all right. It's not great money, but it's acceptable.
It's in the Cleveland area.
Oh,
He's looking for local, he said, to clarify.
yeah, there's going to be all sorts of local work in Cleveland. All the big carriers are there, so you won't have any trouble. Yellow, if Yellow has a terminal in Cleveland, and I'm almost sure that they do, that'd be a good place to try. But yeah, there's lots of choice down that way.
Kenny asks, I'm about to start my CDL driving training. Any tips? One thing I will say is we're putting out a lot of new content on our website for new drivers, so keep an eye on that. And if you haven't already signed up for our newsletter, also be sure to go to the website and sign up for new content.
And my advice is, it's normal to be a little bit nervous, but just relax, take some deep breaths, and don't get rushed. Just don't sweat it. Just relax. It takes as long as it takes, and the main thing is not to get nervous and panicky. Just relax. You'll get it.
You could get pushed by no one.
Yeah, allow yourself to be pushed by no one.
Here's a good question from Gordon Ramsay. How to get good at backing up?
Practice, 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 and then you can practice. And it's like riding a bike. And I've seen driving instructors that won't allow you to stick your head out the window and look back or something like that, or crack the door and lean back.
Some of the driving schools won't allow them to.
And some of the driving, and that's complete hoopla, because you don't have to. No, there's no law mandating that you rely solely on your mirrors. And sometimes you can see a whole lot more by sticking your head out and looking at where you're going. And I do that all the time. And the old timers too, when the mirrors were attached to the doors, they would just crack the door open and use the mirror to track where they were going. The newer trucks now have remote mirrors that can track as you move, but I always found it the best to hang your head out and look to see where you were going. It gave you a more accurate picture of the door or whatever it was.
Bradley Weber, I'm a Walmart driver and I'm a big fan of your channel. Great info and great videos.
Bradley, thank you. And you know what? Walmart is one of the top fleets in the country.
You made the big time.
Yeah, that is one of the places to work. So you've done well there. Great outfit to truck for.
Trucking Man 2015, I wish these carriers would bring back the standard transmission. The automatics are slow.
That's I could go on and on about that. I was talking to some guys the other day that do snow plowing up in our neck of the woods, and none of the guys, they got all new automatic trucks. None of the guys want to drive them because they spin out more easily going up the hills. So here you are with a snowplow and an automatic transmission, and you can't move. They just don't do the job that a standard manual does.
Cab Over Cody says, what do you think is the ugliest truck on the road?
I think the Volvos are the ugliest truck on the road. I've never seen one yet that I thought was a nice looking truck. Volvos. I even like the old auto cars better than the Volvos.
Yep, if in doubt, get out and look, of course, and not to rely on spotters.
Absolutely. Yep. Backing up. Absolutely.
Hey, AJ Deere, the ugliest truck is an International Lone Star. Boy, that's a close second.
Yeah. Is the Lone Star the one that looks like the Batmobile?
Yep.
Yeah. people either love those things or hate those things. I was not a fan of them myself, but some guys really thought they were sharp. I wasn't one of them.
3408.
Jeremy Morgan, thank you very much for the $5 donation. He says he saw a mid-80s 359 extended hood with a 3408A leased to a company that he drives for the other day.
Man,
Nice truck.
nice truck. 3408, amazing engine. Not designed for fuel mileage, because back in the day when those were made, that wasn't a concern. But a great motor, strong.
Here's a really great question from Gordon Ramsay. How is the morale in the trucking industry today compared to yesteryear? Really good question.
That's a really good question, and I hate to say it, but it's true. The morale was so much better back in the day than it is these days, and it largely has to do with the fact that the pay was better, the respect was higher,
Conditions were better.
the ambition, everything,
Conditions.
the working conditions were better. It was just a better job back in the day. At the bottom of the line, the end of the story is it was just a better job back then. People were paid better. The trucks were easier to fix and manage. They looked better. There weren't as many rules. And you know what? And that this trucking industry today has driven the morale through the floor, and that's a big part of why there's a driver shortage. Guys don't want to do this job anymore. And old guys like me won't recommend trucking to their sons because it's not the job it used to be. The morale was higher back in the day, a lot higher. It's part of the problem now. Good question.
Everyone wants to scream and tell and throw fists at each other anymore. So
Yeah, tempers are running high, and
there's more traffic.
that's true. There's a hell of a lot more traffic, and that makes life really
Makes the job
a lot more difficult. Makes the job harder, a lot harder, because there's a lot more traffic.
true. Just a few more questions and we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
What do you think of the Pete 567?
Honestly, I was disappointed when I got into one of those to see how much plastic there was. And, you know, I know that it keeps the truck lighter, and I know it keeps the manufacturing cost down, but it turned me off, frankly. I was disappointed with how much plastic was in there.
Last question, was the term super trucker a thing back in the day?
That's a good question. I can't.
What did you call the hot dogs?
Well, we didn't really have any hot dogs. That's
Oh, are you kidding?
no, I'm not kidding you. That's something that came around in like the 90s sometime. That you started running into guys that would run their mouth
That
and
was
couldn't.
Exactly yesterday. That was a while ago.
Well, but
That was 30 years ago.
I'm showing my age, but it wasn't until the 90s that you started running into guys that could run their mouth but not their truck. And those were the super truckers. But that was the biggest problem. They couldn't drive, but they sure could tell a good story.
Quick question. What are your thoughts on the International Lone Star? But ugly.
But ugly, I never drove one. I don't know how they were maintenance-wise. I don't even know if they're still making those. I couldn't even tell you that, but
See if you're around.
yeah, you do still see a few around, but they always look like the Batmobile to me. So I like a truck to look like a truck.
Okay.
So we're good?
Yeah.
Enjoyed, yes? I've enjoyed chatting with you guys this evening. I always like these little sessions. I feel like I'm sitting around in the truck stop, chewing the fat with the other drivers. I miss that. I miss visiting with the guys.
Just want to take a quick second here to thank everyone who donated this evening. That really goes a long way with us and keeps us more than motivated to keep streaming every Wednesday. So once again, as I say that, another one from Jonathan Mestrel. Another $5 dono. He says, thanks again, guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Jonathan. And again,
Everybody.
thank you to everyone who donated this evening. Jonathan, Jeremy, Starlord, Joshua, Seatown Trucker, and Yakao. I believe I got everyone there. Thank you guys all so much. And thank you for everyone who tuned into the stream tonight as well. Everyone in chat, we really appreciate you guys coming in and shooting the fat with, or however you say it with Dave here. So.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We've enjoyed it. Take care. Keep the rubber side down. We'll see you on the back haul.